Hey, what's up? Hello, my English learners. Welcome again to my YouTube channel. Today, you're going to be immersed in watching this jaw-dropping movie, which is nothing but food for thought. So let's get started. Our movie today is Freedom Riders. This is an ambitious drama based on a true story of an idealistic teacher who took on the challenge of educating a diverse group of high school students classified as unteachables. So let's begin with all this language vocabulary, which, by the way, it's highly connected with the setting of the film. Why? Well, because most of the junior students live in the ghetto. The ghetto is the area of a city that is very poor, where people of a particular race or religion live all together. In those ghettos, we may find different groups of young people, usually formed by young offenders, but better known as gangs. Those young people are particularly used to saying poor bullshit all the time. Bullshit is when someone says that something has no sense, something that is not true. And I must admit that the native speakers use it a lot. In the US, people say a bunch of bullshit. But in the United Kingdom, a load of bullshit. And speaking of bullshit, we've got cuss, which is precisely the action of saying words that are not polite, usually vomited when someone is really angry. And in a gang, they call themselves as homeboy or my homie. Homie is simply a close friend, but a close friend who lives in the same area of the speaker, of the person who says my homie. Then we've got to hook up. To hook up is an informal phrasal verb, and when somebody hooks up with another person, it means that they've been going out on dates, so they started a romantic relationship or just sexual relationship. But if you do this sexual relationship on the street, you might get nailed. If you get nailed, it means that you get arrested in the precise moment of doing something illegal. This phrase means exactly the same as catching somebody's red-handed. And if someone is getting arrested, well, that person may get nuts. To get nuts, it's when someone becomes absolutely crazy. Then we've got midget, which is used to describe something smaller than usual, but in the movie is used with ass. Midget ass. You know the rest, right? Then we've got a gal. A gal is used when we refer to a woman or a girl, but remember, it's an informal way, like lad or bloke, when we refer to a boy or a man. However, in this movie, we not only got informalities, but also some historical aspect of human history. For example, the Gestapo. The Gestapo is used to be, it used to be the secret police of the Nazi in the period of the Second World War. Then we've got this beautiful expression, which is completely different and it has nothing to do with the previous one. Wag your tongue. This means that you are gossiping, talking about someone else as a result of his or her behavior. There are some words that people may use at school or any kind of educational context. Let's see. To begin with, we've got this important phrasal verb, and it's important because it happens regularly at school. To drop out, it means that you basically left your studies. And as a consequence, also, you stop attending classes. What a shame for a student, don't you think? So if you drop out, probably you also stop seeing erasers, which is this object that teachers use to clean the board, right? But it can also be used in the UK as school objects. The school objects to clean marks of pencil on a sheet of paper. In the US, it's better known as rubbers. Then we've got backpack. Backpack is simply a bag. In the movie, is used as a school bag, but it's usually used for kinds of bags that people use to travel, right? And if a student hides your backpack, who knows where, the teacher may get really annoyed. And if it's even repeated, the teacher may say, I'm sick of these antics. Antics refer to those silly behaviors of people in general, not precisely students only. And it is illustrated in the following example. Check it out. Once you start your English lesson, you have to read a text only to get the general idea of it. Then you will skim the text. Vocabulary about crime. This is extremely relevant to understand the context of the movie because in this high school in particular, students come from deprived areas where most people are rather poor. And most importantly, there are serious conflicts over there, like war or riots. At that moment of the riots, people may take advantage of the disturbance and start stealing things from the shops. Those people are known as the looters. But if the looters are members of the local gang, chances are that they will suffer a retaliation for those who hurt their members of a gang, because what goes around comes around. So the question is, how can a member or members of a gang get their revenge? They can get somebody blasted. This means that they will put the trigger of their gun and they will shoot whoever they think they deserve it. That's the reason why young people from this gang, from the ghettos, should pick a spot. They must decide what tribe are gonna be part of so that they can be protected at some point. But luckily, every country has its own sheriff. The sheriff is used in the US and it's an official whose job is to be in charge of following orders of the law courts. And a cop is an informal way of calling a police officer, but only in the US, right? Because in the UK, the British people call police officers informally as bobbies. Bounty. Bounty is the money offered for the capture of someone who has broken the law, as simple as that. If the person is caught and is underage, these will go to the juvenile hall, which is a prison, as you can see, also called the jail in the US. And A witness is somebody who has seen a crime while it was happening. Quite often, they are called to come to the court to testify what happened in an honest way, of course, because they have to swear to the country. Otherwise, they will suffer the consequences. Backup. Backup is connected with police. And if there's a case of a police officer who needs help, probably they will ask for support. But backup is any kind of support or help. A pimp is a man who controls prostitutes and is in charge of finding and dealing with customers with the money and so on. What are you looking for? Do you want a service? Random words. First, we've got a burden. For a high school teacher, having students from a ghetto, and even if those students from the ghetto has tremendous legal antecedents, right? It would be kind of a burden for the teacher, something difficult and not enjoyable to deal with in the classroom. But for Miss G, it wasn't. Dial. Dial is the action of making a phone call by choosing random numbers on the phone. Telephone. A bruise is caused because somebody hits you. A baptism is a religious ceremony. In this picture, we can see a specific religion, the Catholics, yes? And this is a religious ceremony to become part of this religious group. Then we've got throw up, that is the synonym of vomiting. Alone, a synonym of garden, but bear in mind that in the movie it is used as the sort of patio where students do recreational activities after class. In the school's lawn, there are some wannabes, people who try to become famous in a way that is not successful because they act like somebody else. For example, the bar is frequented by wannabe actresses and film directors. Synagogue. Synagogue is a building in which Jewish people show reverence, that is to say, to worship and study. And finally, we reach to the end of the presentation, and what a better idea than providing you with some interesting collocations, fixed expressions, phrasal verbs, quite uncommon words. In bulk means in large amounts, in large quantities. For example, the teacher in the movie wanted to buy in bulk, books in bulk, so that she can get a sort of a discount buying a big number of products. And wiped out is when we make something disappear by eliminating or destroying it. For example, I always wiped out the food of my dish. Haha. Make up one's mind, easy peasy. Wrap something up, not easy peasy. To wrap something up is to complete something or finish, but in a way that is successful, of course. For example, she wrapped up a deal just before she left on vacation. Overstep. This word is a verb and is rather formal, I must admit, which means to go further than what is acceptable in a context, like for example at school. And to dribble has nothing to do. It's another verb that means to bounce the ball against the pool. Listen. attain and caliber. Such beautiful words. Attain is to aspire to obtain something important. For example, the company used new strategies to attain sales goals. And caliber is a noun and it refers to the quality of someone or something, like for example, someone's job. To stamp. To stamp is a verb and it's a way of walking. When someone stomps, hits the ground with their feet, one at a time, usually because of being so angry. And tight is an adjective that describes something small in the case of the size of a piece of cloth, but it can also be used, for example, as a tight budget or tight time. Not used with a place, because in such case we would say narrow. Then we've got shiva, which means to shake as a result of fear, being cold, or being ill. For example, coming to the warm, you are shivering with cold. Your creepy look makes me shiver. Dumb is used in the US as an informal way of referring to someone stupid, but it's also used as the state of not being capable of speaking because of a disability or because of being so shocked. Whacked is when someone is extremely tired. In Spanish, it could be something like estoy liquidada. It's very informal, right? Mortician. Mortician, this word reminds me of the mother of the Adams family, Morticia, without an N, but it's not the case. Mortician is simply an undertaker, which is in Spanish means el funerario. However, this word is used only in the US. And last but not least, we've got bold, which means having no air. Do you know this character, right? Yes, it's Mr. Bean. Well, that's all for now, people. Thanks for watching. Bugs Money would say this.
And that's all, folks.